Hey everyone, I'm Meg and welcome to the LovenStamps studio. I am excited to stamp with you this morning. And the project I have to share with you is another from our suite feature, which is part of the LovenStamps Monthly Tutorials. So those are the ones where like you get the PDF if you place an order with me and you can print them at home, directions, pictures, all the things. If you don't order from me in a month, you'll be able to purchase those tutorials afterwards from my Etsy shop, link in the video description. But today's card is actually one of the 2 cards that comes as a kit if your order is more than $50 this month. So you know you're gonna be excited. The other project is this one, which I shared in an earlier episode of Maker Mornings with Meg. We'll get the glow with that pretty patchwork. But today's card is a super breeze and it really makes the most of the Golden Greenery and the Greetings of the Season set and the tags and the coordinating designer series papers, all the things, okay? So with that, I think we should just get stamping. Yes, I know it's July, but this is a really fun time to be getting going on our holiday projects, right? So when you have something that strikes your fancy, it's just always the perfect time to get started. So, all right, I have here 2 pieces of basic white cardstock. One is going to be our front and one's going to the inside, and then we're gonna layer this on a piece of mossy meadow. So I have a piece here from the designer series paper. There are 6 different patterns in here. They're foiled on one side and then pretty designs on the other side. And so what I wanted to do was really make the most of this paper as a feature on a very simple card. And so I have one of the dies here from the Greetings of the Seasons dies, and they are scattered like all over my surface right now. But there are so many dies here. Let me see if I can pull them all together. So many tag dies in this set that you will, first of all, you're going to want to mix and match them. And I have some projects to share. There they all are. With the mixing and matching idea, the one I'm going to share with you next on Thursday. But then they also just make really great accent pieces. So like this one here, we use 2 of those tags and then one there on the inside of our vellum stair step card. So if you missed that episode, you can look back for that on the LovenStamps blog. But let's narrow back down here to the ones we're actually using today, and that is going to be this fun shape right here. So I love this because the circle kind of creates a focal point and then it's extended so it has a little bit more motion to it. And so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna die cut this, and through the magic of television, look, I have one already. Now, we're not gonna use this as a tag. Not every card, poor Bubby. It's so hot outside. She thinks she needs to be out there, but it's way too hot. So every card does not need to have a tag here to use these tags. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna layer this on here, but we're gonna cover this up. And what better way to cover it up than to feature some of the pieces here from our vellum. So this is from the coordinating vellum here, and from our coordinating Season of Green and Gold designer series paper. And let me pull this one out here. So we have this here. Now I've talked about this a little bit before, so I'm not going to show you in any super great detail, but these dies match the designer series paper and the vellum. So what you want to do is go ahead and line them up on here and pop a little bit of the washi tape on the top. And then you can run this through your die cut machine. Now you notice I've fussy cut on the side here, just sort of in a rough cut, because this whole paper won't fit through my die cut machine. I want to make sure I am using, using the paper efficiently. So I'll just give it a rough cut and go from there. Now the other thing that you want to do, and I've talked about this before on designer series paper, is use the pieces on the side, okay? So this one matches one of the other dies, which I don't see right here in front of me. But you would want to go ahead and make sure you save these edge pieces, and I will show you why on our next episode. So, all right, I have a piece of the vellum die cut here. You can see how cool that is, where you can see through. And then we have one of the die cuts here with the gold foil. So, all right, she might win. I might have to let her out here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're going to tuck this here on the front and make sort of a little spray of our pieces. And then I want to go back and I want to add a focal point with our greeting. So I have a piece of the very vanilla cardstock, and I love matching the vanilla and the white to make things really stand out. So we're gonna go ahead and use our Mossy Meadow ink pad here. And my greeting, we're gonna use Mary. Actually, I think I'm gonna use Shaded Spruce. We're gonna use Shaded Spruce because it brings out the darker green here in this top greenery. And I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this on here and throw my stamp across the table. Now my table says Mary, that's okay. It's the beauty of washable ink, right? It's super easy to clean off. And then I'm gonna use my paper snips and I'm going to cut this out. Now, depending on what your humidity is like where you are, I find that this time of year, I try to be careful to keep my fingers off of my ink spots before it's really, really super dry, my stamped images. Sometimes I find that I have a little bit slower dry time. Usually in the winter, things are like instantly ready to go. But I'm just gonna make sure I grab this only from the side, and we'll do our smooth fussy cut. Never move your scissors, only turn your free hand, okay? So now we have our great piece here. And I feel like you guys are really far away. Would you like to come closer? Here we go. All right. So now we have our greeting here, which is going to fit together. And we're gonna give this a fun accent, and then we have a whole bunch of stamping to do on the inside of our card. So for our accent, I am going to grab my linen thread, and we're going to go ahead and tie a bow. Now, I don't have anything to really tie the bow around, so we are going to double our thread, just like this, and then I'm going to tie a bow on nothing. So basically, that's what I call it. So I make a loop, just here, get this where you can see, make a loop, wrap around, and tuck that back through the hole that you've made. So if you haven't done this before, you might try it with like a single length of the twine so you don't lose track of which where everything's going. But it's a nice way to tie a bow because it just means you don't have to try and like loop it around anything. So let's go ahead and trim our ends. Well, I hate to say this, but I think that Pepper is going to win here today because I think that she just is so determined to go outside. So appreciate the beauty for a moment and let me release the hound. There you go, doggy. And now we'll go back to our bow tying and arranging here. Now, once you've gotten this all arranged where you want it to go, we are going to go ahead and start attaching things. And so I want to leave a spot down here. I like the bow to attach kind of in a place that makes sense. So it's kind of down here near like the sprigs of our cards. And so I'm gonna kind of pinch these things here and then add some dimensionals to the back to secure them to each other. That way I'm not trying to arrange everything, and then we just have to make sure we cover up that hole, okay? So let's peel these off and kind of arrange this on my card. And now we have to attach this to the back. And you can use dimensionals or not, whatever makes you happy. I'm gonna go with some more dimensionals here and arrange this on our card front. Okay, our Mary is going to get another dimensional and it's going to pop up here. And then watch how we attach this bow. For attaching our bow, we're going to go ahead and use a glue dot. Now these guys are hidden underneath the paper. Okay, they're on the back side, they're not on the outside. So pull back the paper, find a glue dot, and then I'm gonna use my fingernails, or you could use take your pick tool to roll that into a little like burrito roll piece, and then pop that on the back of my bow. And I love doing these because they're super easy to attach and you can stick them exactly where you want them. And then I just feel around on there to make sure that there's no sticky revealed. If there is, I might use my fingernail or the tip of my paper snips to just stuff that back underneath there. But with the doubled ribbon, the doubled linen thread, sorry, focus, doubled linen thread, it stays under there pretty nicely, okay? Now we're gonna take this and we are going to layer it on a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock. And this is one of the things that's magical about the Stampin' Up! Cardstock and the coordinating colors. So this Mossy Meadow green on the greenery here matches the Mossy Meadow green on our card base. So when you pull those together, it just really brings out that extra green and makes those colors look super sharp. So I'm gonna go ahead and attach this here with multi-purpose liquid glue, I think. And maybe this one, there we go. And then go ahead and pop this on our card front, okay? All right, now the inside of our card here, we want to stamp, whoops, multi-purpose liquid glue doesn't grab instantly. Make sure you don't nudge it around when you're in the wrong place. Okay, now we need to go ahead and bring in some of our scrap paper because we're gonna stamp kind of off the edges of our cardstock here. And so I'm gonna use one of the greetings from this. I adore this greeting. May your holiday season be filled with warmth and cheerful celebration. Is just gorgeous. So I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this here in shaded spruce. Make sure I get a good inking. Look through your stamp. That's the beauty of photopolymer. Make sure that it's evenly inked all the way around so that you get what you want when you stamp. And now we're going to add some greenery to this. And I am going to use the Golden Greenery sprig, these guys up here. And I'm gonna show you two different ways of setting this up when you stamp. Two-step stamp sets, like this one, where you're getting the image from two different places, can be stamped with a back first, or the solid image first, or the overlay first. And here's what happens when I try to stamp the, okay, now I'm thinking which way I like to do it and which way I don't like to do it. Okay, I'll show you both ways. We'll just figure that out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stamp here, first if I have the wrong color, I'm gonna stamp the background first. There we go. And I'm gonna stamp, this is gonna be my two-step stamp version. Now I'm gonna take my shaded spruce and I'm gonna lay over the top, and I don't know, let's see, there, we can see kind of where we are to get everything lined up. If I stamp this one first, and then I stamp this over the top, let's see, I actually find it much easier to look through and see exactly where those images are. So I did okay here, but I did much better here. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stamp, what did I just say first? Oh gosh. Okay, we're gonna stamp this one first. So full strength of shaded spruce for our overlayer, okay? And then we're gonna give it our background with a stamped off version of Mossy Meadow. And now I can see those detail lines and line up my image much more easily this direction. So your mileage may vary. Figure out which stamp is easier for you to stamp first. So there are those stamped images. Your mileage may vary, and you might like the other image stamped first, but definitely know that if you're struggling with it, or if you're like, why is this, Meg said something about this. Remember that you will often find that you like one layer over and under better. So just make your stamping easy and enjoyable, and remember to try the opposite if you're needing to try something different, okay? So there is that layered inside our card, and here is our card front. So greetings of the season and golden greetings. So this is, let's see, I only put glue in the center, and I'm not loving this leading edge out here. So I think I'm gonna go back and add some more glue out here at the edge so that doesn't float. There we go. So this is one of the 4 projects. So we have, let me get my ink out of the way and I'll show you the others. We have our very fun layered greenery card here. We have our patchwork card here. And then we have our fun fold stair-step vellum overlay here that I showed. So these are 3 of the 4 project tutorials that you get as part of the LovenStamps Monthly Tutorials for July. And then I have another project to share with you that's going to come with our next video tutorial, and it is a treat, literally and figuratively. So I think you guys are really gonna like that one too. So, all right, well, thank you for joining me for a relatively short video today. But I think you'll agree that sometimes when you have a card that's just really basic and really well laid out, you don't have to spend a ton of time on something to end up with a really great looking finished product. So with a suite like the Season of Green and Gold, you have all the pieces at your fingertips to mix and match and have things come together really quickly between the stamps, the designer series paper, the vellum, the dies, the tags. It's really, really a great suite. So with that, I will leave you and see you again on Thursday morning with another episode of Maker Mornings with Meg. So Happy stamping, everybody. Thanks for watching.